I'm going to actually say Killer is going to win this. The main reason why I say that is because Finale has shown 2 games where he cheeses twice in a row. Game 1 might not seem like a cheese, and Killer technically shouldn't have gone up and, you know, searched around with his 5 Stalkers. But the fact that that Finale is going heavily against the metagame Game 1 and Game 2 just tells me that he, I don't know, feels a little bit less experience or feels a little bit, you know, like he's the weaker player going into this. Obviously, the 2 gateways are a big cheese, but going for Blink Stalkers is like metagaming the metagame, which I don't normally like to do. I like to see it once in a while, but not in best of 3s. Certainly not in best of 3s. I feel like that's super risky, and you're probably not going to get good equity on that.
Finale has done pretty well in PvP, so I'll just stick with him because, I mean, in Korea at least, he has a 75% win rate, and he's beaten some pretty notable players, like Yonghua, the guy who popularized it, Hawk, Oz. I mean, he's matched up pretty well against Squirtle. And Finale, of course, has been doing very well. I mean, making it to the Revenge of the Nerds and even playing well in Iron Squid. I just think that a lot of people underestimate him. And if he somehow is the one who rises up through the ranks, then people start to be talking about, like, who's this Finale guy? That's what people were saying about Puma in Season 1. Who's this Puma guy coming from nowhere? And so I'm going to put my faith in him as well. And he's shown, even though, yeah, he's cheesing slightly, but or heavily, I think he's shown really good build orders, and it just means that his mindset's in the right place for this matchup. And anything can happen in PvP.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, his execution has been great, his macro has been great, or what little macro we've seen so far has been
in the collective 10 minutes of gameplay, his macro has been immaculate.
But you know, I just, the choice of builds, especially how we start off with best of 3, I don't know if these players actually have a lot of experience together, but I just feel like it doesn't show, you know, the highest level of profiting from best of 3. Like, the choice of builds have been just really, really risky in my opinion. You can lose to really, really bad players, I think, doing his set of builds in all of his best of 3s.
That is true. That is true. And that's pretty much the risk. But of course, both players might have familiarity with each other, whether it be practice. They don't have any documented games, at least on Team Liquid. But regardless, they may be familiar with each other's style and they could play it. They have 2 games of experience, so Killer really trying to play it safe. You can see Gate Robo immediately. Now, Ohana's a map where Gate Robo Expand can be pretty strong, whether you get a couple Immortals and you just really defend, because the ramps are pretty tiny, whether you have to defend from 1 ramp or 2. But also at the same time, Ohana, since it's so tiny and whatnot, you can also afford to not scout because of the distances. We know players like Naniwal chooses not to scout on Ohana. So pretty interesting, different openings compared to other maps, but that's why I like Ohana for PvP, because in the end you can kind of take a little bit of risk, but you can still expand.
Right. 3-gate pressure, by the way, coming out from Finale. He's most likely going to pressure, and we have a War Prism in queue. Wow, interesting.
Oh, wow.
War Prism and 3 additional gateways behind this. So he is doing, obviously, this type of pressure that we've seen so many times. I think the most famous game I can think of is, you know what I'm going to say?
No. I mean, I have one in mind. But
Squirtle versus Hero?
Oh, yeah, that was really good,
Dude,
too.
that was insane.
I was thinking about the Huangson Night End game in NASL, but yeah, that one obviously had more popularity. Huangson definitely executed that pretty well. The biggest drawback, of course, is that if your opponent has Blink, it just straight up doesn't work. But you can hit at a pretty nice timing when before they can get a good number of Stalkers, and you can just use the War Prism as a reinforcement point. Nonetheless, you can see the Twilight Council about to finish for Finale. He did delay it a lot compared to his other games. He got it a lot quicker on Tal'Darim Altar. And Finale, what are you going to choose to do? Is he going to go DTs? Oh, okay. He had 250 gas, and he went for Blink.
Yeah, it does make a little bit more sense to do Blink right now rather than Dark Templars, just because you went 3-gate and then.
Andre,
the War Prism! I don't know what he's doing right here, but he is trying to surge up in the front as well. And oh my gosh, Killer. He is really, really blundering this. Losing the War Prism was so brutal.
Oh no, he's going to lose the rest of the units as well. Killer loses almost everything.
Not. You can leave. You can leave.
He could leave, but he's leaving his Stalkers there instead. Oh, the irony. And now Killer has to go back to the drawing board. Mortal on the way, and you can see an Observer and a Sentry as the only units besides Probes Killer has. And that's not going to fare too well against the Gateway army from Finale, especially with Blink on the way.
Definitely not looking too good. One thing he can do is always have constant force fields on the ramp, but he's actually choosing to get another Immortal. I think that might actually kill him because you need all the gas actually allocated towards making sentries if you want to actually block all of this off. He's trying to just say, please be scared, but all he has to do is blink once, and he's going to do that. Nothing.
No, he's not.
He's expanding.
I mean, yeah, he's expanding back at home. This is exactly what you need to do because what are you afraid of in PvP when you expand? You're afraid that they're just going to kill you. And the fact is, Killer has no army. He's got no mobility. He knows his opponent is probably making Immortals because he saw a Warp Prism. And he knows that his opponent's afraid of a Blink all-in, just like what he did. So Finale, if he gets an opening, he could push in. But for now, he's just content with expanding and getting a macro advantage. You can see he's getting a Robotics for himself as well. And no doubt going to get his Observer out as well. And with his tech catching up like this, it's going to be very sad. But look at what Killer's trying to do. He's working on the low ground.
And he was trying to catch those units out, but obviously he wasn't able to do that. At least he established his control on the bottom of his base. The fact that, you said it, the robotics facility is coming up. The more important thing is he has observers. He has access to observers, which allows him to actually go up into the main base. So it makes it so much harder for Killer actually to do any sort of pressure, any sort of all-in. So I think that's completely gone. Killer just has to take the backseat right now and play defensive, try to get back with just great engagements and cost efficiency, but it is difficult after this beginning stage.
Observer trying to escape, and it's going to be very close, and the Stalker could blink but downwards and get it. And it does. Very nice pick indeed, and Killer, that's just another setback. And that's actually really key as well, just in terms of denying your opponent information. Now Finale has a really small window where he can sneak out units accordingly and do whatever he wants, and the choice is to power up on gateways. Now, I know what players like Sase love to do in PvP to follow up their expansion is to go for 6-gate Blink Stalkers and slowly tech up to other stuff if you want, but for the most part, you have a pretty nice timing window. As long as you can Blink Stalker correctly, you can really do this well as long as you can whittle down the numbers. That one Immortal gets really weak, Andre, but I like the choice of path, what Finale is doing.
Very, very nicely done. And look at this, now he's just going to threaten back and forth. It puts the Immortals, the Zealots, the Stalkers all in a very awkward position. And what he has to do is just try to pick off that Observer. If he can get that, he's in a golden out. Oh my god, 4 Stalkers are going to go down here. But in the meantime, those Stalkers over on the right-hand side are going to pick off a couple of probes. He can easily just retreat from this right-hand path. Very intelligent play. And look at that, he even gets 1 Stalker from the left side. Very nicely done by Finale. Very impressive overall, in my opinion.
It's more impressive because Ohana's not a map that you can really blink the cliffs that easily. It's a little bit tricky. It's because you don't have that much surface area. You can see Finale immediately blinking backwards. And the western side of the map, you can't really blink up. It's not like Shakur's Plateau or Daybreak or anything where you have a little bit more ledge to play with. But I think in the end, Finale is just really doing the right moves, just macroing. You can see his robotics-based finish, and no doubt gonna have just a huge amount of units, so Killer really can't bust him. And Killer's just playing catch-up. You can see the entire time, Finale's been probing up a lot. Now up to 51. Wow. That's the most pros I've seen in PvP in a long time.
Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry, dude.
No, it's like, it's really good to see though, because a lot of Protosses, it's kind of like in ZVZ where if you make too many workers, you just straight up die because you don't have enough army, but like Finale is able to sneak that many. You know, like what Songho has at this point, or Killer, is like a normal thing, like in the mid-40s, because you just need enough to saturate gases and your minerals, so you need like the bare minimum because you want to be pumping units, but it's really cool to see that Finale is able to really understand his position and able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, especially on a map like Ohana where you have that type of ramp. Tal'Darim Ultra, obviously, that's a map where you definitely can't go up to 51 probes like this. But this map, you do have that ramp, so it helps out quite a bit. You're able to play those macro games that you actually want to play. Let's look at the deviations right now. We have double forge coming out from Killer. He's only upgrading a single forge right now. I don't know if that's a mistake. Okay, there it goes. And there he will be double chrono boosting out. Something common that we've been seeing is double robo off of one base as well, and really just emphasizing the Colossus and trying to get them as strong as possible and overdo it. So if your opponent actually makes a mistake and takes a third a little bit too early, you can go and punish it. I think Killer might have needed to do something like that. I think double upgrades are actually looking a little bit too forward, because you can see as soon as Finale actually saw that, he's like, well, you just gave me a timing push. Now I know for a fact that you can't have these series of units and upgrades by the time I do. And look at that, charge is about to finish. This is perfect timing.
Finale trying to move up here. Now charge isn't done, but as soon as he does have charge, anything can happen. You can see Killer's got 2 observers on his opponent, really intent on ensuring that he's going to have full information on his opponent's whereabouts. Trying to see if he can force himself up the ramp, but Songho only has 1 Colossus. This is kind of an awkward spot because the Blink Stalkers are not able to get in position. The charge allows full out engagement. The second Colossus from Songho comes just in time, but I don't think it's going to be enough as the Stalkers blink forward. And with that Colossus Knife, Finale might be able to get anything, but Songho blinks forward as well. And Killer trying to take out his Colossus. Both players trading Stalkers for heavy tech units, but look at that, Finale's Colossus survives with 2 HP. And there it is, GG from Killer. Finale takes game number 3 on Ohana with great decision making and excellent engagement.
And that does push him towards the round of 4, which actually allows him to compete for a chance to be in the Season 3 of North American Star League.
Season 4.
Oh, Season 4, you're right.
Yes.
What am I talking about? Oh, he still has a chance to
Season
compete.
3 maybe potentially.
Season 3
too.
and Season 4. So congratulations to him. Unfortunately for Killer, he's going to he gets eliminated right at the brink.
It's always tough
where it needs to be.
Because, I mean, they won 3 series to get here and just falling a little bit short, going down to game number 3 where, in the end, I mean, can imagine if Songho didn't lose that War Prism, had that ability to really punish, because Blink was about halfway done. We were saying that there's a small window where you can hit with that War Prism before the Stalkers can really come to play. But great, foresight from Finale. He has Stalkers in perfect position. Most times he's trying to protect the ramp. Great job, and overall he deserved that win and earned it.
I agree. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into our next matchup for today. This is the Open Tournament, round of 8. We'll be back with a short break.